We are recording this. Welcome. Hopefully everybody's nice and warm inside. We've had a nice cold, windy day. People are still training out on the fields. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so things we're going to talk about today. I know some of you have been with us for a long time, but we're going to talk a little bit about Loudoun Soccer, who your contacts are, what our policies are, how to communicate with your team, and some of the program formats, and maybe if we have any rule changes we need to talk about. Just remember to keep yourself muted, which it looks like all of you are. Way to go. And we will have questions and answers at the end. If you have any questions that you just want to ask right away, you can hit the chat. And Ashley is online and she'll try and answer that question for you. And if she can't, we can come back around to it at the end of the discussion. Just so you guys know, we are taking registrations for our spring break camp, our summer programs. This rec speed and agility, I think, is still open. In the past, we have not had all-stars for our U13, U14 age group, but I talked to Al about it, and it's something we are discussing. So if you're a coach of a 7th and 8th grade team and you have an interest in that, reach out to me and we can definitely discuss that. Okay, online coaching support. Especially for those of you that are new, I'm gonna jump over to our website here for a second, just to give you an idea of where everything is. Okay, kind of slow. There we go. Under the rec drop down, there's a coaches tab. And we've got the Coaches Info Center and Coaching Education. And under the Info Center is a lot of information. And we are switching service providers probably come May or June. At least you'll see a new website. So this will look different, but at least for now, again, it was Rec, Coaches Info Center. And if you scroll all the way down, well, first here's our contact information. Here's the information you get credit after you coach for a season, practice schedules, who to contact. This recording will be listed down here, so you can click on it. And then also all the abridged rules are down here. So again, it's a lot of information on one page, but we try to keep it all there so you just have one place to go to try and get your answers. Okay, so let me go back here. Whoops. 1 second. There we go. Okay. All right. Some of you have already come by to pick up your equipment, but as you could tell, we did equipment pickup a little different this year. We didn't have a free weekend. Figured with spring break coming, people would be available this weekend. So that's why we're doing in-office pickup. We still have tomorrow, which you could come anytime between 10 and 7. If you can't come by tomorrow, shoot me an email. And because Ashley and I will be in and out next week, but we can at least make sure yours is pulled aside, or we'll make sure someone's here so that you can pick up. It's both your team jerseys and your coaching equipment. And hopefully some of you were able to attend the 11v11 field clinic that Darren held the other night. Okay, rosters. I was saying this in my earlier meeting, when I say rosters may change over the course of the season, they've already changed a lot. We'll talk about that more in detail in a few minutes, but make sure if you haven't checked your roster since the first day, which Classic and high school I posted a week ago, maybe Tuesday, and Classic rosters I posted Friday. They may have changed. People ask for refunds. Players want to play on somebody else's team. There's all kinds of reasons for changes. So make sure you've double checked your roster before you send out your next communication. Only players on your official roster can practice or play with your team. I have another slide coming up down here about travel players, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But even if like your next door neighbor says, hey, Coach Bob, I see you're coaching soccer, can I play? We are so full in 7th through 12th grade. The only place we really have room is high school girls. So anybody else, you'll just have to tell them they need to wait for fall soccer. Team officials means you and your assistant coach. Obviously, you guys have all passed our background check, or you wouldn't be on this call or assigned to the team. If you have an assistant coach that has not signed up yet and still wants to help out, that's not a problem. Just have them log back into their Loudon Soccer account and register. If they can let me know that they've signed up, because it won't ping me. If I'm not looking for it, I might not see it. Or you can email me and say, hey, Karen, Coach Bob wants to help me out. He's going to sign up tomorrow. Please get him assigned, once he gets signed up. You guys should know the required equipment, but everyone will have a jersey. High school, again, we provide the different colors. Classic, they have to purchase the uniform through Soccer Post. I'll talk about that in a minute. They need a size 5 ball, shin guards. It's funny, we still have hand sanitizer on here. I guess I could take that off now, but I guess it's always a good thing to have around. Required equipment, again, for those of you that are new to coaching soccer, there are 2 different types of cleats. The soccer cleat here does not have this toe pick or toe cleat right here that baseball and football have. So I would assume all your kids they're old enough where they already have a pair of cleats, but if they're going out to buy new ones, just make sure they get the correct type. The ref will catch it if they don't. Dick's Sporting Goods is still one of our sponsors. They're having their Dick's Sporting Goods days between March 29th and April 1st. So if you or anybody in your team needs anything, it's a good time to go. I forget what the percentage off is. It's like, it might be 20% on pretty much anything. So it's a good time to shop to get what you need. Okay, so uniforms. Again, the high school jerseys, we have those all packed up. But for the 7th and 8th graders, hopefully they've already ordered online through Soccer Post. If they haven't, they still can, even if it says, you needed to order by a certain date. I mean, you could order one, in the middle of summer if you wanted to. They don't have to have the black shorts and the black socks, but they do need to order a red jersey and a white jersey. And I think they have a special kit price when you buy it all together. Soccer Post has just opened a store in Leesburg over where the old Walmart used to be on Edwards Ferry Road. But they don't have our uniforms in stock yet. But eventually what will be nice is a player or coach will be able to walk into the store and just pick up what you need. Hopefully down the road, that's how all the jerseys will be handled, and maybe even the coaching equipment, but it's kind of baby steps. They just opened last week. I haven't been in the store, but I assume there's other soccer equipment in there if you want to go check it out. Okay, we're going to go through a couple of safety reminders. This doesn't really pertain to you guys because everyone's U13 and over, so there's no restrictions on heading. But just keep in mind, concussions are a big thing these days. We take it super seriously. So, when in doubt, sit someone out if you think they might have, hit their head too hard on another player or on the ground or whatever they hit it on. Make sure to inform the family if the player hit their head. And then, excuse me, if the family does take the player to the doctor and the doctor has said they have a concussion, they have to provide a return to play note or a document from their healthcare provider before they can participate in practice or a game with you. Hopefully that won't happen. Slide tackling, obviously you can slide tackle at the older age groups, just not at our younger age groups. And we talked about heading. Weather. Hopefully we won't have a season like we had in the fall, but here's the good news is we have a lot of artificial turf fields now. So if you're coaching a high school age team, all your games are going to be on artificial turf. If you're coaching a 7th or 8th grade team, some of your games will be on artificial turf and some will be on grass. If you don't know which of our sites are artificial turf and which are grass, if you go into our field directory, it does say next to the field what it is. Because what will happen is, let's say we have a huge downpour on a Friday night, but Saturday is one of those beautiful spring days where everybody wants to be outside. Well, Parks and Rec might close Hanson Park Field 4 because it's grass, but Hanson Park Field 2, which is artificial turf, is going to be open because it's turf. So as a coach, you need to be aware of what type of field you're playing on so that you know whether or not your field would remain open. Now, we also will post on our website under that field directory which fields are open and which are closed, but it's just good to know ahead of time, you know, what you might be facing. I don't know if anybody watched the U.S. women's team when they played in a lake about a month ago. I mean, it was the funniest soccer game I've ever watched. If you didn't see, you got to go back and watch it on YouTube. But you know, they kicked the ball and they went, you know, 2 inches. Or they were dribbling with the ball and left the ball behind them, and you know they're still running. I remember last season at Light Ridge, can't remember who was there, but there was a game that was canceled because they said there were puddles on the field, and I never really thought about puddles on artificial turf till I saw that um, women's game, which I think that was even grass. But either way, my point to that is like sometimes you'll be playing a game and the rain's so heavy you can't kick the ball. Then it's up to the referee and the coaches to decide whether or not, you know, the game can still be played. Also, thunder and lightning, always a 30-minute delay. So make sure you heed that warning. The head coach is the primary point of contact. If you as the head coach want to authorize, and we say deputize, authorize your assistant coach or a spouse or something to be your contact because you travel, or you'd rather just have someone else do the communication, that's fine. Just let me know so that I know that when assistant coach Jimmy is emailing me, I know that he's speaking for you, and I'm not changing a game schedule or practice based on what assistant coach Jimmy needs, but for what the head coach wants. Okay, important dates, and some of these have already passed. So we've already released the rosters. We're having a Zoom meeting. The coach equipment's happening right now. I'm working on the game schedules right now. They'll be released by March 27th. April 1st is the first week of practice. The first Saturday of games is April 6th. The playoffs are actually May 18th, unless we have a rain out. So if it seems really compact, it's because we have so many Saturdays. I don't know how it worked out this way, but spring break was early, so we could start early. So start on the 6th. And by the time we get to May 18th, that's our 7th weekend, which is playoff weekend. Now, if it rains on April 6th, those games are all going to get picked up and moved to June 1st. So yes, I'm saying you're going to be done on May 18th, but keep it in your calendar. If we have a rain out week, it's going to get pushed to June 1st, which is the weekend after Memorial Day. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so playoffs. All the classic and high school teams participate in the playoffs. There's no extra charge. It's based on the standings during the season. As those of you that coached before, there's multiple brackets. So for example, in the girls high school division this season, I think there's 8 teams. And so with 8 teams, there'll probably be 2 brackets of 4. And so like 1 will play 4, 2 will play 3, and so on, like 8. So just make sure you mark May 18th as the day for the playoffs, of course, unless it's June 1st. This schedule will not be posted until all the regular season games are done, because we don't know, obviously, who's going to be playing whom until we have all the standings and the scores. Practices. Hopefully you can all see your practice schedule in your online account. I know there's some large teams out there. It's going to be a lot of people on the field. But you are assigned half of the field. But depending on the night you requested, like if you practice on a Friday night, you're probably going to have a field to yourself. If you practice on a Tuesday at 6 o'clock, you know, you're definitely going to be sharing with somebody. These are sessions led by you, the coach. There's session plans online if you need some help, the new coaches especially. Um, always trying to end, you've got an hour and a half for each of your practices. Try and end about 5 minutes early to clean up, and especially if you're an early team and you've got a team waiting after you. Talked about the schedules. Sure I didn't miss anything. The practice schedules won't change unless one, you want them to change. And if you do, you need to email Jamie, which her email's at the end of this slideshow. Or two, something happens to a field you're practicing on, like it's a grass field that's got a hole in it and the county needs to repair it, we need to move you somewhere else. Otherwise, your practices will stay the same. Game schedules. Again, I tried when I'm working on the schedule, like you're a high school boys coach, you know, there's 6 teams in your division and probably one team plays at 11, one plays at 1, and one plays at 3. Tried to kind of keep them in the same location, but one weekend you might play at 11, the next weekend you might play at 3. So please look at your schedule when it comes out and try and foresee into the future. Like ask the kids, when is your prom? How many of you are taking SATs? Do you have jobs where you work in the morning or the afternoon? And that way you can kind of get a sense if you're going to have any issue with the time of the game that I gave you. And I have no problem with you emailing me and saying, hey, Karen, I've got 6 games, they're all great, but the one on May 4th, could I play later in the afternoon? If you tell me like when this before the season or right when it starts, I have no problem moving those things around. It's just when it gets to like the Friday and the game's on Saturday and you say, oh, my whole team just told me they can't come at 4 o'clock on Saturday. Well, that's a bigger problem because then, it's less than 24 hours away. So just try and get ahead of the game on that. I know it's hard with teenagers. They're going to tell you the day before, but just do the best you can. So I kind of talked about this with free schedules. If you have a conflict, try and see if you have a conflict personally, try and see if your assistant coach can cover for you. If you don't have an assistant coach or that's just not working, some of you have already sent me emails with, somebody's getting married or whatever. I have no problem trying to around that as best I can. Game day, what to bring, obviously your bag of tricks, which you're going to pick up from here. You might want to throw in a pair of shin guards or some goalie gloves or something in case somebody forgets something. This slide is more for the 7th and 8th grade. The home team is going to wear red and the away team is going to wear white. I'm going to ask Ashley a question. Bear with me. Do we have any duplicates? Okay, great. So I was just asking Ashley if we had any duplicates in the high school jersey colors, and she said no. So you should not have a conflict on game day with jersey colors. So yeah, when you get there, just wait for the previous team to depart, say hello to the opposing coach, and say hi to the referees, and get ready to start your game. Again, most of you know this, but from the new coaches, you need to make sure that you as the coach and the team is on one touchline and your fans are opposite you on the other side. Some clubs, if you came from Sterling or Chantilly, they might do it differently, but this is how we like to have things set up. And don't worry, you can just follow the lead of, if you're a new coach, you'll be playing a team unsure of a coach as a coach was before. So if you have any questions, just ask him or her. And the ref is always there to help you. Coaches, please do your best to stay in the technical area. And it's not like professional soccer. There's no line there telling you to stay over there, but at least stay on your half. Sometimes, I'll watch a game and the coach, likes to crouch over or go out on the field or go down to the end, but just try and stay between the 50 and I forget how far it is, say it's 10 yards, but, try not to move around too much, when you're over there. I don't know if how much basketball you all watch, but when did it become commonplace for basketball coaches to stand on the court, like during the game? I My husband and I were watching it, and I couldn't believe like that they do that now. Is that like a new rule? I don't. Someone can tell me about that later. Going off on a segue here. All right. Um, game length. Seventh and eighth graders, you will play two 35-minute halves. Grades 9 through 12, it's two 40 minutes. Okay. Um, goalkeepers, you don't have to rotate them, but especially with larger rosters this season, I would encourage you to rotate them. I know by the time they get older, there's some that just they're not going to play goalie. You know, they don't want to use their hands, but it's always good to have a couple different people to play that position. Okay, so again, there's the FIFA laws, there's Youth Soccer modifies the laws, and then there's our abridged rules. Our abridged rules are the ones you really want to focus on, and it's more like the length of the game, when you can sub in. I mean, for the most part, our 11v11 rules match up with normal Youth Soccer rules, so you won't see anything too odd. Pre-game, you know, you pick a captain, they're going to do the coin toss. This is when you can do substitutions. Your teams throw in, the opposing teams throw in, if they're also subbing, any goal kick, any kickoff, any disciplinary situation, and at halftime. Playing time. Now I know we have this 50% playing time. And again, I know some of the rosters are fairly large. Just do the best you can. And I would just say if 1 week, let's say you're an 8th grade girls coach and all 20 of your players show up, and you know that Susie only got 20 minutes that weekend instead of, 40 or whatever she deserved. Just talk to her and say, hey, Susie, I'm sorry I couldn't get you in at the end of the game. I'll get you in more the next week, and just do your best. I mean, you guys always do. I'm not worried about it. But I know it can be difficult if everyone shows up to the game. The goalkeeper, I mean, unless you have like a 12th grader on your team who that's what they do, they play goalkeeper. If you're a 7th grade team and you have someone who plays goalkeeper the first half, make sure they get some field time the second half. And you should have scrimmage vests. We have some more that we're giving you this season that the goalkeeper can use to distinguish them from the field players. Again, we put this more for the younger player teams, but coaches are encouraged to rotate the players into multiple positions. So, if somebody says, oh, I only want to play forward, well, you might say, well, if you'll play other positions, you'll get more playing time because nobody wants to play defense. So you might have to just, use your ways to like get them on the field playing different positions so they get more playing time. Okay, score reporting. I would like you all to report the score if you can within 24 hours. Ashley's great. She'll put together the Google survey again that you guys used last time. It's basically, who you played, what the score was, were there any calls and any comments you want to make. And I use that Google survey to then enter the scores into Sports Connect, where you guys can see the standings. Now, I will say, once we switch to our new system in May, there's going to be a much easier way to do score reporting. So we won't have to use the Google survey anymore. But that'll be next fall. So we'll get to that when we get there. Every season I get this, like, hey, I won 7-1, but it only says I won 5-1. Well, when you put your score in the Google sheet, you can put in what the real score was, even if it was 10-0. But when I put it in Sports Connect, it's going to truncate that, and it's only going to give you a 4-goal differential. And that's because we don't want, we don't want 10-0 score. So if you're already winning by 4 goals, that's a good time to like move people around and let people try different positions to try and keep the score from getting out of hand. Travel players. This slide I just put together today because last season I had a couple teams that, unbeknownst to me until the end of the season, they were playing with travel players. And of course I didn't find out till the playoffs were over, and there was nothing I could do about it. So here's our policy. No travel player from any club, including our own, is permitted to play with one of our rec teams. And this is for first grade through, 12th grade. If I get a report that a travel player participated in one of your games and it's found to be true, meaning I'm going to call you and I'm going to ask you. And so if I find out it's true, then your team will have to forfeit that game. And I will say it normally happens because people, well, it's 50-50. I was going to say people don't know, but some people do know. They know they're going to be short players for the game. Oh, my neighbor plays for the Loudoun Soccer NBA ECNL team. Can she come play with my rec team? And those players stand out pretty quickly. So the other coach can pick up on it pretty quickly that that kid's a travel player. So please don't do that. I had way too many instances last year of this happening. So I just wanted to make note of it so that we're all on the same page. Referees for you guys, we do ask for 3 refs, so 1 center and 2 assistant refs. Sometimes we get 3 refs, sometimes we don't. The good news is when our ref assigner works on assigning refs, she will start with the U19 boys and work her way down. So there's a good chance if you're, a high school boys or girls coach that you're going to have 3 referees. Sometimes they don't show. They've gotten sick. They forgot they had a travel game that day. They were in a car accident, whatever happened. So play the game. I'm sure you've all had to step in and ref a game or ask a parent to ref a game. But I will say, I think last season was one of the best seasons we've had with ref coverage. So hopefully that will continue. Again, how can you help with the referees? Just don't yell or criticize them. Keep the focus on your team. Don't ask for their name. We know who they are. Make sure you say thank you. And then notify Loudoun Soccer. And you can do that through the Google Sheet. Like, man, I had Coach Ashley on Saturday. Ref Ashley, she was the best ref I've ever had. Or, man, she really didn't know what a throw-in was. Or, whatever the situation was. Just, you can let me know through that, and I'll pass that on to the referee assigner so they can follow with the referee to see what's going on or just say thank you. Hey, you did a great job. And again, just like you always do, just be a positive role model. Remember, there's 0 tolerance towards referee abuse, verbal or physical. We all see enough things on, TV, YouTube, TikTok, whatever you guys watch for your videos with inappropriate behavior. And we don't want to be one of those clubs. So just keep the confrontations to 0 and keep cool and walk away and report the knuckleheads to us, as Dan Raven would always say. And, it's for the kids and it should be fun. Post game, just make sure it's a good game. You can do the handshake line, thank the referees. Make sure you clean up the bench area and then hit the Google survey and submit your score. And then again, if there were any issues, along with the Google Sheet, I'm happy to receive an email from you if you need to send any more detail than can fit in that little box. Resources, again, I showed you the Coaches Info Center. Underneath that was the Education Resource Center with articles, videos, tips. Then you guys know me. And then Darren, again, is our technical staff. So if you have questions about substituting players, roles on the field, your team is struggling, you can't score, whatever, maybe Darren can help you with that. And again, good luck. Hopefully, we'll have great weather this season and we'll have a great time. So I went through that really fast. Again, that's going to be recorded if you needed to go back and review that. What kind of questions do you guys have, if any?
Karen?
Yeah.
Hey, it's Megan. Hey, I wanted to ask, hey there, the engine where we're using for the teams, did you guys get that squared away? Because the last year's app was terrible.
Okay, so I'm glad you asked. Thank you, Megan.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the Stack Sports or Game Changer or whatever you use, I don't know. So
yes.
That is not working, but it's going away. But here's the problem. We got to get through spring. But so the name of the new program we're going to be using is called Play Metrics. We've actually started with that with our travel registration right now and with our summer camps. And then when we open registration for fall, which will be in May, we'll be using a new system. So when you guys go to log in to register your kid or sign up to coach, you'll be sent a new link. We won't be using like the same thing we're using now. It'll be completely different. Here's the best part about it. It is all communication and app driven. So everything will be available on your phone. You can make groups, you can, chat with people, you can, Darren's in love with it. So it's supposed to be really great for coaches and for communicating. But again, we have to get through spring. So I would recommend you could set up, what's the name of that program, Travis? TeamSnap. You could set up a TeamSnap if you want for spring, or just figure out some group, whether you set up a group chat, on your phone. I know that's not easy because not everybody has iPhones, but however you want to do it. But come the next season, it'll be much better.
Okay, thank you, Karen.
And Karen, hey, it's Chris. Game Changer's still working. It's the only limitation I found is schedule updates don't import in, so I have to manually recreate those.
Right.
But the initial schedule, all the players, all of that still works well in Game Changer.
Okay, that's good to hear. Darren and I had talked about it the other day, and we just can't support it anymore because there's so many glitches in it. But yeah, if you're someone like Chris who has the patience to probably go in, because for example, like if I change your roster from yesterday, Chris would probably have to go back in and manually change that roster, or once your game schedule goes in, if I change it, you might have to manually, it might not match up with what I have in the system. So it's just a lot to keep track of, I think. But
yeah, rosters seem to work.
Okay. Well, I haven't changed your roster. Do you want me to go change it? No, I'm kidding.
We had one move and it showed up in Game Changer.
Okay, well that's good. Okay, well maybe I mean a naysayer, so I guess give it a shot. Any other questions?
Hey Karen, Rob Taylor. If we are certified refs and we have to step in to ref a match, should we reach out to Tammy about receiving compensation for that?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yep, keep your shirt in your bag.
Will do.
Yeah, maybe everybody. Yeah, you should just all get certified to ref. That way you can coach volunteer, but then ref and get paid for it. I don't know.
Karen, you know?
Yeah.
Yes, Karen, do you know when the agility training is closing?
Oh, that's a good question. Ashley? Ashley's gonna look it up real quick for me.
Awesome.
Night Owl's here at the office.
Hey Karen, quick question. Will we get an email about the rec goalie training? When it's gonna begin? Okay.
Yes, if you've signed up for that, Al Bonilla is in charge of our supplemental programs, and he should send an email out with when it's gonna start, where you need to be, that kind of thing. And it's the same with the speed and agility. Ashley says it should still be open. If you're trying to, we're using the old system for that, right? Yeah. So it should be in there, but if you don't see it, ping me and I'll check with Al on it.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out when it closes.
Yeah, I think it just stays open until it fills up. So it might just even stay open until, like, if it starts, 2 months speed agility starts. It gets like, is it the 5th? I think it starts April 5th. Yeah. So it might stay open, just stay open unless it fills up. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. April 3rd. Closes April 3rd. New update.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That was a hard question. Oh, especially at 8 o'clock at night.
Our players can actually, sorry, let me start off again. Can our players we have a few players on our team that are returning that have been on my team for a couple of seasons now that are still using the uniform for, I think it was like 2 or 3 seasons ago.
Okay.
Is that okay, or do they need
Perfectly fine. Yes.
Okay.
We don't want anybody to spend money they don't have to. So as long as they have the red shirt and the white shirt, it is funny. I'll look out there and I'll see like a fourth grader wearing like a mini soccer shirt. Like someone who hasn't really grown, like, wow, they really got their money out of that shirt. And it was included in the registration fee. So yeah, they can wear it until, till they grow out of it.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay, well, I just want to again say thank you guys. We have, I don't know how many classic and high school players we have. It's a lot. And I'll tell you, I know I've had a conversation with a couple coaches about the high school boys teams. They're so full. And what happened was, we had 4 coaches from fall not return because their kids, I guess, being in high school, either made the high school team or running track or doing something else. But then what happened was we had, gosh, at least 50 players register at almost the last minute because I think they went out for their high school team and they didn't make their high school team. And, you hate to turn those players away because they're 16, 17-year-olds that, just want to play soccer. So I thank you guys for your support on that. I know it's a lot.
Karen, quick
yeah.
question for you though. With because we used to have it as Ashburn and Leesburg, and now I'm
Yeah.
seeing we're Percival and
So
Leesburg.
Megan, for some reason, your team got put in like the Leesburg, well, even though you have like I think you have all Ashburn. You might have some Leesburg
Yes.
people on your team. It's so we stopped having Percival as a division to register for because we
Okay.
never really got enough kids to form a team.
Mhm.
Just out of Percival kids, or Ashley and I were always moving people around from like one bucket to the other. So when they registered, they could pick South Riding, they could pick Ashburn, or they could pick Leesburg, Percival. And for some reason, I don't know if you were there or someone else was there, but I think I still got everybody on your team that registered on time and requested you on your team. So it doesn't really matter. And you're going to play all your games, in the same places anyways. So,
Yeah. Okay. It was just
yeah.
a question that was little. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
The name, your team name looks weird because it says Leesburg Percival, but just
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank
It's
you.
all good.
All right.
Yeah.
Have a good night. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. Okay, so anyways, thanks again, guys. Appreciate your support. And again, this will be recorded and posted online if you need to go back and check anything. And then hopefully, again, try and get by tomorrow to pick up your equipment. If not, touch base with me about coming by next week. And then any other questions, just feel free to reach out to me via email. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you, Karen.
Good
You're
night,
welcome.
Karen.
Good night.